From the High Definition Production Center of Troy University's Broadcast and Digital Network, Troy, Alabama's International University, this is Troy TrojanVision News.
Hello and welcome to Troy TrojanVision News for February 23rd, 2017. I'm Seth Hawk.
And I'm Sarah Singletary. Thank you for joining us this evening. There will be a trio of runoffs in this year's student government officer elections. Students cast their vote yesterday, and now let's take a look at the results. For president, there will be a runoff between Andrew Deering and Ashley Morris. Zach Anglin and Taylor Holt will be in the runoff for director of representation. For director of administration, there will be a runoff between Blakely Clack and Caitlin Baylor. And two elections were decided by Wednesday's vote. Douglas Dick is the new vice president of campus activities, and Lakin Berry is the next vice president for legislative affairs. We caught up with both presidential candidates today to get their reaction on the results.
Really excited about it. We have one more week of campaigning. Ashley Morris is a great candidate. She's one of my personal friends, and she'd do a great job, but I also think that I do a great job, and so I'm really excited to be in this with her.
I'm truly honored. The more it set in and the more I thought about it, the more humbled I became to just really be someone that I feel like the student body is backing, and they believe in my vision and they're on board with it. So that's something I'm really excited about, and I can't wait for the next election.
The runoff election will be on Wednesday. To vote, students will need to click on the link sent to them in their Trojan email. The election window will be between 8 a.m. and 5 p.m.
This morning, hundreds of college students from all of Alabama's public universities converged on the State House steps in Montgomery to rally in support of higher education. Samantha Charles has the details from our Montgomery News Bureau.
When you go to polls, will your voice be heard?
Chanting could be heard from all directions as nearly 2,000 students from Alabama's 14 public universities gathered on the State House steps to rally for higher education.
We want to make sure that there's equity in the way funding is distributed, to make sure that all of education, pre-K, all the way through PhD, gets accounted for and gets taken seriously in the decisions of how dollars are appropriated, because accessibility is a big issue. If we have a third grader in Alabama right now that doesn't feel like they can go to college, ask the question why. Every child ought to have the opportunity to believe that they can pursue that degree, and that's what we want to do, is make sure that the funding is there so the costs don't become prohibitive.
Stone hopes that this rally is just one of the many steps to help Alabamians realize higher education's $20 billion economic impact.
The value of a university education, $20 billion annually across this state when you combine what our 14 universities do. $12.50 returned to the state for every $1 that's invested in our universities. You know, our institutions are made up of over 180,000 students, and those students, when they are employed with that bachelor's degree over their lifetime, will make over $1 million greater income than someone that doesn't have a bachelor's degree. When you mix that back into the economy, it makes a huge difference for this state. So we want our people, the young people who are our leaders, the young people who are going to be the difference makers in the state, to tell that story.
Gordon says that in order for students to see a lasting impact, they must take a stand and get involved in protecting higher education in the state of Alabama.
We get back what we invest in oftentimes into things, and so the more we invest ourselves in telling our story, the greater chance it is that we have more success in this state.
This was the state's 19th Higher Education Day rally. In Montgomery, Samantha Charles, Troy TrojanVision News.
The Higher Education Day event is considered to be the largest rally at the State House every year.
And among those nearly 2,000 college students were hundreds of Cardinal-clad Trojans who made the trip to the capital city to show their support for not only higher ed as a whole, but also to the school they love. Kyle Shook takes a look at the Trojans one and all who took part in the rally and our continuing coverage from the State House.
At the Higher Ed Day rally, Troy Trojans stormed the state capitol and made sure their voices were heard. As part of an annual campaign to allocate funds to public universities from the Educational Trust Fund, Troy joined the other 13 public universities in Alabama on the steps of the State House. SGA member Lakin Berry is fully invested in the change that can occur through this rally.
I think Higher Education Day is an awesome day for students to come out and be able to share their opinions and show the people in the Capitol that we really care about education and that we care about being able to go to school, and that a lot of people don't come from backgrounds that allow them to be able to afford school as well as others, and that we need help from the government for that.
Students are representing all 14 public universities in the state of Alabama to lobby for 1/3 of the Educational Trust Fund, including more than 250 Troy Trojans. One student is proud that Troy brought so many students to the rally.
I think it's a great opportunity for all the schools to get out there and get their voice heard on meeting the goal and trying to get 1/3 for our schools. And the more people we have, the more it shows that we really want this.
Barry invites senators and representatives to come and see the work that has been put into this rally.
We've been inviting the senators and representatives to come downstairs and hear us and hear what we're trying to say. Gordon's done does a great job of portraying that. He's in charge of a higher ed day, and I hope that they just hear that we care.
Reporting from Montgomery, Kyle Shook, Troy, Trojan Vision News.
Troy University traditionally takes one of the largest groups of students to the rally each year. And last night, Troy University students were able to get a taste of 3 uncommon disciplines coming together in a new way.
Ashley Bredekite explains.
Dissent, philosophy, art. 3 heavy-hitting topics in society, but not often associated together. However, Wednesday night's Armchair Discussion, hosted by Troy University's Philosophy Society, brought these 3 topics crashing together in all of the right ways.
I thought it would be very poignant because it's about dissent, and America was formed on dissent, and there's this romantic idealization of dissent that is relevant in America, right? And so I thought that would strike a chord where it should.
I think it's an integral part of why people come to college. You know, there's so many ways to learn online in isolation. So to get a room full of students that are in diverse subject matters, the pressure of not having to take a test or have a homework assignment, and this cross-discipline of philosophy and art, it's all intertwined, history, philosophy, art. And students need to see the interconnection of all these classes that are offered and not just be so siloed.
While the focus of Wednesday's Armchair Discussion was philosophy and dissent through art, there's more to be learned through college-level discussion than may meet the eye.
Cognitive dissonance achieved through questioning is a powerful tool. And what we wanted the series of lectures that we call Armchair to be was to be a conduit through which people can achieve that, right? Through which people can just essentially hack away at their models of the world.
We're living in a time where we have polarized opinions and people are more and more isolated or entrenched, and college should be a time where people are growing their brains, learning how to communicate, seeing different points of view. That doesn't mean you have to change your point of view, but you have to learn how to communicate and do meet in the middle.
Ashley Bredekite, Troy, Trojan Vision News.
Students who may be interested in attending future Armchair Discussions can contact the Philosophy Society by emailing them at philosophy.troy.edu or by liking their page on Facebook.
Now, the latest in Trojan sports on Troy Trojan Vision News.
Welcome into the world of Trojan sports. I'm Jamal Kennedy. Troy Indoor Track and Field wrapped up competition in the Sunbelt Championships Tuesday at the Birmingham Crossplex. The Trojans finished 9th, but there were impressive individual showings across the board. Texas State took home the women's title for the 2nd time in the last 3 years, and for the 2nd consecutive year, Nyada Alexander led the team's performances at the meet. Alexander finished 3rd in the 200-meter dash with a team best 24.15 second time. She also ran a team best 55.97 second time in the 400-meter dash. That put her in 6th place. Outdoor track and field will start their season at the Jaguar opener hosted by in-state rival South Alabama in Mobile on March 3rd and the 4th. And tonight, one of the toughest matches remaining on the schedule for the women's basketball team takes place. The Trojans face off against a 17-7 UT Arlington team, a team that is 10-4 in conference play and 1 spot behind Chandler Rigby's team. The Trojans handled the Mavericks easily back on January 14th, pulling away early and cruising to an 85-68 win. Tonight, it's a matchup between heavyweights, and head coach Chandler Rigby highlights the gravity of the meeting.
Played Texas Arlington, which we beat them here. We were both undefeated in conference when we played each other. We got that win. I know they're going to want revenge on us. I know they'll play even better in their gym. But basically, we're both fighting for 2nd place right now. We're 1 game ahead of them. If we were to lose to them, then we would be tied with them for 2nd. We don't want that. We want to still be in striking distance of 1st.
7 o'clock is the tip-off time between the number 2 and 3 teams in the conference standings. Fans can watch the matchup on ESPN3. And the men's tennis team is on the road once again tomorrow, taking on Chattanooga. Head coach Scott Kidd's main concern is finishing. He's concerned with the inability to keep momentum. But if there's one thing about Coach Kidd is that he believes in his kids.
When we played them last year, I think we won 7-0. You know, it's not going to be easy. That's going to be easy. We don't have to tell the guys nothing's going to be easy. If we go out and play the tennis I know they can play, they can take care of business. We tend to make things harder for ourselves. So that's been the focus is being able to take momentum in a match and be able to finish matches, not to prolong them, because, you know, the quicker you're off the court, it helps your teammates too.
The Trojans took down the Mocs last year 7-0 and will look to pull victory number 3 tomorrow when the two teams meet at 2 p.m.